folks, it's Gino T right back at you with the AFC report and preview for 2011. I gave you the NFC one yesterday. I was going to wait till Friday for the AFC, but something's really gnawing at my craw. And I'd have to say that it would be Zach Miller. What happened, Zach? Why are you gone? Why did you leave? And why did you go to Seattle? I mean, God, if you didn't really like it in Oakland, I mean, we got a chance at winning the division and possibly going into the playoffs this year. Seattle made the playoffs last year, but at 7-9, you don't even have a quarterback. Anyway, no further ado. On with the AFC. We're going to start in the AFC West with my Raiders, and I'm going to tell you this: the Raiders, I think, are going to take that division, and it's not just bias. I mean, we were 8-8 last year and we swept the division, and I haven't really seen much improvement by any of the other teams. Maybe Denver picking up a couple of running backs. I still think Tebow is not the answer there, although I hope to see him play because chances are they're going to lose with him anyway. The Raiders don't look pretty good. I mean, making Cameron Wembley the highest paid linebacker was disturbing to me. However, Tommy Kelly was made the highest paid defensive end a couple years ago, and it's paid off in the last few years as per Weird Al. But the Raiders, I think McFadden's going to come back this year, have a tremendous year. Jason Campbell has another year under his belt with the exact same offense and the same offensive coordinator, who is now our head coach in Hugh Jackson. Receiving wise, we got rid of our best receiver. We lost Zach Miller, so I don't know how they're going to replace him. And Chaz Jones hasn't been healthy. Lewis Murphy hasn't been healthy. Darius Hayward bust. I don't know what's going on with him. I just assume that things are going to probably take care of themselves out there, and they must know what they're doing. Look for the Raiders to take this division this year, possibly at 10-6. Following them up, I'm going to have to say, maybe the Chargers. It's a toss-up to me between the Chargers and, believe it or not, the Chiefs. The Chargers will start with, they've given up Darren Sproles, who was probably arguably their best player other than Phillip Rivers on the offensive side. Yes, I know M80 is going to be there, and he had a pretty good year last year. Vincent Jackson, another holdout situation kind of guy, volatile. We'll see what he comes into play. The defense is still kind of on the weak side. I mean, they haven't really done much to improve it, but we'll see what happens. They do have some younger players there who can be stepping up. San Diego's a weird team, again, with North Turner. You know you're going to run the ball. With who, I don't know. I know Matthews has come into camp out of shape, and he really just did not live up to expectations last year, fantasy-wise or otherwise. So we'll see what happens there. Kansas City, I think, is on the rise. They got a very good, solid core there. Matt Castle showed that he can handle that offense and run it pretty well. The running game has been extremely well there. Jamal Charles should have another good year against that offense with that offensive line. And their defense and special teams played very well towards the stretch there and won some games for them. Not enough to do what they thought they were going to do, but they're a young team. We'll see what happens. And finally, the Denver Broncos. I don't know what they're actually doing there, and I can't believe that they're going to be any better than they were last year. I just don't see it. There's too many things there that put up question marks, like Tebow. Is Orton? What's going on with him? I don't believe he's going to be there much longer. I don't think they like him for some reason. I don't think anybody likes Orton, and the guy just wins games. I don't understand that. It doesn't make sense. The Chargers, Bisconti, my buddy. I don't know, man. The Chargers, as I said, they're going to be fighting for third, fourth place with the Broncos. I think this year you're going to look at the AFC West being the Raiders, the Chiefs, Broncos, and Chargers fighting it out. I'm not really sure who's going to take that doormat spot, but it's going to be one of them, guaranteed. Let's go on to the AFC East. Very interesting division. Let's start with the Buffalo Bills because I don't want to end there on a low note that way. But Buffalo, there's nothing to say. There really isn't. Miami Dolphins, I'm not sure what direction you're going in. Quarterback would have been a good one to start, as you have Chad Henne, and I just don't see much else happening. You lost Ronnie Brown, not that he was that incredible the last few years. But it's just a team that doesn't seem like they have a direction. The Wildcat came and went. I don't really see where that's going to actually come into play or be effective this year. The two top teams, let's talk about them because they're really exciting. The New England Patriots. Now they've taken on Hainsworth, has been washed up, didn't like playing in the defensive scheme he played in Washington. He's playing the same defensive scheme in New England. And Bill Belichick, you can only make lightning in a bottle a couple times. I think turning Randy Moss for 1 year, we saw that explosion coming after that Super Bowl loss to the Giants. He's a guy that, well, what are you going to do with him? He's retired. While we're on Randy Moss, I did leave this out yesterday when I was talking about the Eagles. I don't think he's retired for good. He will be back. I have a funny feeling. You heard it here first from Gino T. Don't be surprised if Michael Vick, not to get off the AFC subject, makes that phone call and maybe does a little tag team with Vince Young to maybe draw Randy Moss there out of retirement, which would be his probably best option, especially with Deshaun Jackson on the holdout scene. The Patriots, I do see them fighting for this division. However, it could come down to a 10-6 tie between them and the Jets, and it's really a tiebreaker. But those are your two top teams, the Bills being the last, the Dolphins being fighting for that third, fourth spot with the Bills. I don't see them progressing at all. If anything, I see them regressing. New York Jets, let's talk about them, as if Rex Ryan hasn't talked about himself enough. You lost that on Nnamdi. You probably could have made that 20-minute press conference you held the other day very simple. Left it to 2 words, Nnamdi Asomugha. You lost him. You didn't get him. And I don't think comparing him to Revis is even fair. Revis, really, what has he done? I mean, yeah, he's good. He has his own island, I guess. He's like Mr. Rourke. But just like that, too, he disappeared pretty quick. And last year, he did not perform quite the way he expected. So what did you do? You got the door prize. You got Cromartie re-signed. That's great. Good luck with that. And the Jets, as usual, I mean, offensively, I don't, all right, yeah, you signed Plaxico Burress, and he's staying there in the Meadowlands, but the guy's been in jail for a year and a half. He's coming back at the age of 34. He's still got to get Sanchez to get him the ball, and Sanchez really hasn't proved any kind of increase in play since 2 years ago. Last year, I mean, he had a couple games where he came out, but, I mean, most of the games that you won by luck or by chance in overtime, a bad turnover here and there, you squeaked by. If you plan on taking out the Patriots and owning that division, you got to play a lot better, defensively and offensively. Defensively, yeah, you're pretty solid, and I probably should pull back that comment about the defense. Rex, you'll have them playing. It's the offense that's questionable here. LaDainian, I don't think he had gas left in the tank last year, although he did come out and play his role well. But you got to see more out of your starters. You got to see more out of the receivers. I think losing some of the players you lost on offense this year, Smith and some of the other players, you kept the most of the Braylon Edwards. I don't know what's going on with that. I mean, that's... you had some guys that made some key plays here and there, but nothing solid, nothing outstanding and performance-wise, so we're going to leave it right there. Jets, 10-6 this year. Patriots, 10-6, dogfight for first place. We'll leave it at that. Let's go to the North. Baltimore Ravens made some moves this year and bringing in some key players. They lost McGahee. Obviously, he's gone. I think he was on his way out anyhow. I look for Ray Rice to really take over that offensive role for their team. Flacco, love him. I think he's a good quarterback. He needs some talent around him on the wide receiving core, which I think you've taken care of. I look for the Baltimore Ravens to take this division this year. I don't see Pittsburgh doing it. Palomalo, I think, is on the downside of his career. Once he's hurt and he's not in that lineup, that defense and that team just loses games. And Big Ben, hey, congratulations. You made it to August without any rape convictions. Possibly the marriage helped. I don't know. But poor Hines Ward was so excited that you did. He got a DWI. Can't keep those Steelers out of trouble, right? Anyway, let's get back into the division. Baltimore, I think, is going to finish this division off and take the AFC North crown. Followed up by Pittsburgh. Cincinnati, I don't even know how Marv Lewis is still there. I almost said North Turner, kind of the same player or coach. But Cleveland, believe it or not, I think is going to come in third and give a fight against the Steelers for possibly second place. I mean, Peyton Hillis, you're on the Madden cover, buddy. Target is on your back. Let's see if you can make it healthy through the season for once and change that curse. But I think Cleveland's on actually the good path for once. I always try to have a little faith in them and think that they're going to do something. They're a fun team to watch. with Josh Cribbs. Peyton Hillis, obviously pretty electric last year. It's just coming down to quarterback situations, and who's it going to be this year? Who's going to be their guy? It's Cleveland's just one of those teams you can't really pinpoint them defensively, special teams wise. They come out in a few games, they make it look like contenders, but we'll see. And the Bengals, sorry to say this, but I think honestly this year, unless Palmer's back, you got some good new receivers that came up last year. But, with T.O. gone, with Ocho Cinco gone, I think you lost some pretty big headaches. And, Marvin, I'm rooting for you, buddy. I thought you were going to do something with this team the last couple of years. Anyway, let's get into the AFC South. Pretty exciting team. With, I got to believe this year, a dogfight between the Indianapolis Colts and the Texans for that first place. But with Peyton Manning still at the helm, you got to put your faith and your money on the Colts. Colts are coming back strong this year. They got rid of some dead weight off the roster. Bob Sanders is finally gone. Great guy when he was healthy, but the big question mark was when he was healthy. So we're going to have to see what happens there. But defensively, they've made some moves. There were some new transactions that came through between last night and today on the defensive side that I think really is going to help them out. But I look for them to dominate the Houston Texans. I really think this could be their year. Last year, we saw a lot of improvement on the offensive side. The defensive side needs to shore things up, and I think defensively they haven't really done that yet, especially in the backfield, as they were burned last year for over 200 to 300 yards in the second halves of games. And that's where they really lost out. Jacksonville, I don't know what direction you're going. MJD, you got a strong wall in front of you and a couple blue tarps to get through, and that means fans. You need fans in the seats. You need some support at home, and I don't think you have it. David Garrard, I don't know if you're really the guy. And between you and, thank God, Tennessee's there, because Tennessee is going to be the bottom feeder. I know they got Hasselbeck back from Seattle. I know they're grooming their new quarterback, Locker. And I guess, something's going to happen there eventually. The team is in the right direction, I think, as far as improvements. They got rid of Vince Young. Kerry Collins, Vodka Collins, as we always like to call him, from Penn State, is finally retired. Cheers to you, my friend, and congratulations on your years. You did well, except for when you were in Oakland, you bastard. Anyway, but you did have Norv Turner coaching you, so at that time, who was to say? But let's take a look at this divisions. I think the AFC West, you're looking at Oakland, my boys, taking that division. In the East, I think it's going to be a dogfight between the Patriots and the Jets. Baltimore, clear cut for the North. And the South, sticking with Peyton, baby. Stick around. Also, follow me at GinoPalooza.com. The website is, you will see the Lock Around the Clock, which will appear every week, Fridays before the games, if not Saturdays before the games. Last year, I was an astounding 68% winning percentage, which was great. That means you made money, I made money, we're all happy. Your bookie lost. That's great. So look for those reports coming up. And also follow me on the Comedy of Gino T Facebook. Like me, follow me, y'all make you money. And on Twitter at GinoT32. Sorry this was so long. I don't like to drag these out. My reports will be a lot shorter for the Lock Around the Clock, but I compacted and squeezed the NFC and AFC into 2 videos this year as opposed to 8. So digest, regurgitate. Hope your team does well. Good luck this year. Fantasy can't help you. You know what I'm saying? I could help you, but not in this one. We're over time. All right? Take it easy.